Hello there, this is your friendly neighborhood banker here reviewing Marvel's Dark Agnes #1. And let me just say right off the bat, this is how you start a new series and introduce a new character and their supporting cast. I loved this issue. Rereading it, I read it twice. It was better the second time than the first time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think Dark Agnes was a Robert E. Howard creation from way back in the 30s. And I am familiar with his Conan work and his Red Sonja work, and some of his other IPs from those days. But I never read original source material from about Dark Agnes before. So this is my first introduction, so I have no preconceptions at all going into this character or this story of this world. And what a good intro. First of all, if you're going to do a cover for a new character and story, Stephanie Hans is not a bad choice. She did this cover for this book, and very cool. And Clunan as the writer, Pizzari as the artist, and Ramos as the colorist. Everybody did great work. Congratulations. Really good job. So let me take you through this. So right off the bat, how cool is that? A wanted poster is your kind of credits page. So wanted by authorities, Dark Agnes. Illustration of latest appearance, and then it goes into all the people who went into making this book. So right off the bat, it kind of takes you into another world on a credits page. I really like when companies and books do things like this, where every single little piece of the book, even credits page or intro pages or ending pages, still fit the flavor of the world or the character that you are trying to put forward. So first of all, we get this introduction to this guy named Etienne who's at his execution. And there's this guy who's like, Etienne Villers, you've been found guilty of crimes against the crown, and it is by the pleasure of Duke. Again, I have no French training, and I've never spoken French in my life, so I might butcher a lot of the stuff. I might just skip them entirely. The Duke, I'll just say the Duke versus D'Alencon. I don't know. It might be something like that. French is not my language. I'm almost 36 years old. I'm still working on English. Okay, so he says, you've been, let's see, crimes against the crown. It is by the pleasure of the Duke that you are hereby put to death. And these crimes include stealing, cheating, gossip, corruption of the innocent, seduction and adultery. And oh, what a great face. The guy's just, you can just see his personality right there. His, this brings back such sweet memories. And the guy keeps going. Heresy, public drunkenness, poaching, and murder. And the guy just, the guy says, I cannot deny the charges of drunken, seduction, corruption, even perhaps the cheating. Though you could say that the Baron was cheating his sharecroppers long before I ever sat down for a game of cards with him. I should add that his lovely wife quite enjoyed the seduction. She almost had me knighted, and you get this laughter from the crowd. What a cool, what a cool, fun, badass, courageous personality, pseudo-crazy guy we have here in Etienne. And then, of course, what a cool shot of, your first shot of a character coming in. Agnes comes to his rescue. So right off the bat, we have this wonderful adventure going on. And as the story progresses, Agnes saves him, and they travel together. And they get to this scene where, someone points out that she's on this wanted poster, and she just throws this dagger at this dude. And, she goes by a few different names, and she's known by a few names, and she says, you will remember me as Dark Agnes. And this is really cool. She says, see this sword at my hip? It belonged to my mentor before he was murdered by the Duke's own dog, Renaud de Valence. It is now my closest friend. This pistol was once the property of an English pirate I slew on board the vessel, the Resolute Friend. I can shoot a codpiece at 200 paces with this beauty. And then she goes on. This is really powerful. This dagger, though, this dagger was a wedding present from my sister. My loving sister, who thought I should kill myself rather than marry the vile pig Francois, as my father wished. So it's cool. We got this whole... She's in the middle of introducing these weapons and also telling us her history. And you can see the tone is very different from when we got this intro in Tian, which is kind of this fun adventure, lighthearted thing going on, almost like this Robin Hood story. And this gets dark. And so she goes on saying she knew what delights awaited me on my wedding night. And she goes on, it was the first time anybody in this world showed me any kindness, and bless her for it. This dagger saved my life. And let's take a look too, like the intimidating face she gives this guy, and the reactions of the crowd, just surprise. And I love this, just disgust. Really cool. It's not just everybody giving the same face, it's all these different kinds of reactions from different people. Really high quality work, in my opinion. If we keep going, you know, she intimidates everybody successfully, and then we get back to her relationship with Etienne, where they're at this inn, I guess, and, you know, she keeps drinking this alcohol, and he's like, fine, do what you will, don't cry to me tomorrow when your head hurts. At least I have a nice view. And he's looking at this gal over here. The good sister looks a little stern, but her companion, you know, you can see like this pissed off reaction line. Like you could just see it. And, you know, he talks about the woman next to her, and he says, I've never seen anything like her. I think she could be the love of my life. I know. I said that about the Baroness de Lyon and the Francois Defoe, maybe? I don't know how to pronounce it. Like I said, I don't French. Do I French, bro? No, I don't. But I mean it this time. Laugh if you must, but you don't understand. You loved a damn sword. Me? I'm cursed to a lovelorn life of long-lost loves. Really cool. So we get this wonderful, great, humorous personality. And then, you know what? Agnes passes out, and he helps her up to her room, and he says, what kind of friend would I be then, huh? After you saved my life again today. My debts to you will never be repaid. Taking off your stupid boots, the least I can do. You try so hard to push everyone away, but that won't work with me. I'm your true friend. And you know what? He doesn't go in and they don't get on the SEX. He just took his friend up the stairs and helped her take her boots off. So this Etienne's a really cool dude. They show what good humor he has, that he's an adventurer, what a good pal he is to Agnes. And they go into this really fascinating thing where Agnes is asleep, and they go through this almost dreamlike sequence of what her past was. See all the people, I guess it's taking back to her wedding night, where all the people at her wedding are dressed up in different or they are represented as different animals, and this is how she sees them, you know. Like you got this creepy dude, preacher I suppose, who might be performing the wedding service. I don't understand any of the French here, but like that's the thing. The visuals translate. I don't need to know exactly what this says. I get the gist because it's drawn so well and the story takes me through it so easily. And you know, you got this like wolf-like dude saying, ungrateful wench, your new husband will tame you, I warrant. He will not humor as I have, daughter. So you can see she makes allusions that her dad was this terrible guy that tried to marry her to this horrible person, and she says, no, let me go. And then the pig shows up. At last you'll eat sticks out of my hand. And she stabs the pig. So this is clearly meant to represent her husband. It's almost, and then you get this kind of like almost like an Alice in Wonderland like sequence where she's like flowing down the river and all these crazy animals going on. I thought it was really, really fascinating. And even the art style changes. See, Agnes's face is completely different. You know, kind of meant to show how different she used to be versus this like super confident badass gal she is now. And they go into how her mentor was killed, and this was a $100 sequence to me of this whole book. I mean, the whole book was good, but consider what is represented on these 2 pages. So Agnes saves this gal here, and she says, "I've heard enough." And look how dark that face is, and how mean, how intimidating and serious that is. And she stabs this guy right through the chest. And the gal says, "My thanks. You hadn't come along, who knows what this man would have done. The roads here are dangerous. My companion and I could use some help. Leave me be, good sister. I've already done all." She says, "I can pay." And look at the difference between this face and this face. All of a sudden, this is an adventurer who helps save someone. She's all serious. And all of a sudden, when money can come up and be involved, she's like, "How much?" What an intrigued and enticed look that is. I just love it. She's like, oh, yeah, super serious, you know, just cleaning off her blade and, question mark? Okay. Exclamation point. Very intriguing, this payment that can come about. And then, you know, they get together, and apparently, you know, it's the woman from, who's with the gal that Etienne was into at the inn earlier. And she says to Etienne when he gets up, "Get in. I'm Helen de la Mer. My chaperone, Sister Marie, hired you and your friend Agnes as bodyguards for our road trip." And the guy, you know, Etienne was eyeballing her, and he's like, "Money? Pretty gal? All right." "You don't have to ask me twice," is what he says. And she says, "For the amount I'm paying, you better be as good with a sword as she claims. Are you ladies expecting trouble? The road to the chateau can be dangerous." And he says, "Fontainebleau? Have you been? My aunt and uncle live there." "We can't go there. That's where the Duke lives. I'll be put to death on arrival." And this great, exciting face, and Agnes just goes, "Too late now. We have a job to do. Hiya!" And off we go. I'm excited for the next issue. The range of really good humor, great characters, good art. My first intro to Dark Agnes, and dynamite. Absolutely dynamite. So I'm really impressed with this. I was very skeptical about this when I first picked it up, but you know, knowing this was a old school Robert E. Howard thing, I had to give it a shot. And you know, Stephanie Hans can really capture me with the cover alone. But I'm definitely going to keep going. Really good job for Clunan and Pizzari and Ramos. That is how you do a first issue.